Hey y'all, I am so excited to have Hayley here. Maybe I'll scoot over here so I don't feel like, okay. Hayley is my next door neighbor, but also she's amazing. She is so fun. And what I love about Hayley is she has a bunch of parts of her personality that are opposite mine. Like she's very calm and patient and speaks very kindly to her kids. I'll tell you kind of a funny story. We have a sing along at Christmas time, and her daughter Lucy, we have food after we sing, and Lucy was getting food like before we sing, and I'm like, Lucy, you get that before we sing, and she's like, and I could tell, I'm like, oh man, Hayley is such a sweet mom. Like she's probably never heard this tone in her entire life. So now
She has.
yes, I was like, Hayley just is such, like, I love her sweetness and genuine, authentic personality. She's super kind to everyone. I've also noticed she's mature beyond her years. How old are you?
Thank you. 34.
Yeah, she's 34, but I feel like she's my age. Whenever we talk, I feel like we're so anyway.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think part of her trials have kind of pummeled her forward as far as the stuff she's been through. I think it's made her mature beyond her years. And that's what I want to hear from you. I was so excited she was willing to share because is it okay to say I coached you for a bit?
Oh, yeah.
I coached Hayley for a bit, and I was just so shocked by how quickly she picked up on the concepts and then how she implemented them. Like a lot of people hear them, then they don't do them. And the next week, every session, she was, I did this, I did this, I did this, and this helped, and this worked, and this wasn't as helpful. And she was on it.
I need to be on it again.
What else can we tell? She has 5 kids.
Yes. Yep.
And do you want to tell about them a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So my oldest is 11. He's going to be a deacon in our church in January. So he's excited about that. My daughter Lucy is 9, and she just does everything and would do anything that was possible for her to do.
Larger than life. That's
she's a
Lucy.
girl. Yeah, she's like the Gemini. They say you have to like clone yourself because you can't do enough. That's her. And then Jeffrey is our middle guy. He's just super sweet, easygoing, and fun, and has the cutest smile. And then we had surprise twins, Luke and Grace. They're 4, and they are complete opposites, which is kind of what I love about it. I don't see them as twins a lot, but I see them as just like 2 crazy 4-year-olds. But they're fun and they keep us going. And yeah, we've been married for 16 years this next month.
You have?
Yeah. So if you do the math, I got married very young.
Wow.
But it's been good. I'm glad I didn't like get scared and back out because it's been great. So.
Yeah, they are awesome as a couple and as just individuals. They are an awesome family. So can't wait to hear what Hayley wants to share about her journey with this. And she says she has 2 main things that she learned, but do you want to take it away? And then I'll ask questions as they come up from in my head.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel underprepared, but I hope that something I say can help someone because Shari's helped me so much with life coaching. So, I think I just got to a point in my life, it was after the twins, where I just felt like it was kind of one thing after the next. And I just really was not coping. And I'm sorry if I cry this whole podcast, but that's part of who I am too.
It is, and it's awesome.
So my dad passed away from cancer, and that was really tough to watch. And then shortly after, my brother became an addict, which was really hard to watch. And that caused a big strain between my relationships within my like immediate family growing up, and especially with my mom. And I just felt like I could never get past, like I wasn't coping or dealing with anything. So it just all like surmounted and came together in a big hot mess. And that was me. And that was like pretty recent after I moved into the ward with Shari. So she was probably thinking, who is this crazy neighbor? And
Not
like,
at all.
She needs help.
She looked like she had it all together to me from my point of view.
But that was my problem, right? Like I am an avoider and I'm like a resistor to where I feel like, oh, everything's fine. I can do this. But I wasn't fine. And I think that's what led me to wanting to live more than like a mediocre life. I loved my husband. I loved my kids, but I just wasn't well physically, but like definitely emotionally. And I feel like emotionally when we don't deal with things that can cause physical problems. I believe that 100%, and that's where I was at. So I had kind of looked into some like podcasts, life coaching and that type of thing. But then Shari did this awesome class in the summer for kids life coaching. And it was perfect for me as an adult because I learn in very simple ways. That is what I connect with. Like at church, I connect with primary a lot, or, I just have a very simple belief system, I guess. I don't know how to say that. Anyways, I went to her summer camp and I learned so much about let's see, how do you say like your natural brain and your
Oh yeah, like the primitive brain and
uh-huh.
then, yeah.
Like your body will try to protect yourself from the pain and you'll just use other things to cover it up. And that's where I was at. And I was like cruising along like that, thinking like, I got this, it's fine, when really I wasn't fine. And it all kind of came to a mount, and this is going to sound very bad, but it all came kind of to a head when my mom started dating someone new. I wanted her to find someone. My dad had been passed for like 7 years, and she had a really hard time. She wasn't doing great. I mean, she was surviving and doing the best she could for the circumstances she was put through. But it came down to her always being alone, and I didn't want her to be sad. But then, like, seeing her jump in and date someone else was a different story. And I was back to all the feelings I had been before about when my dad passed. So that's when I got hold of Shari. I'm like, I think I need life coaching because I am not dealing with this.
It's a hard circumstance though.
It's hard. I mean, I don't think it would be harder than being like an adolescent, but it was hard as an adult because you think your life's one way. So for it to change when you're 34, 30, that was just very interesting. And I wanted the best from my mom, but I had also been really hurt by her. And there was just a lot of stuff there. And I didn't want there to be more, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I wasn't coping and I wasn't accepting that she was like moving forward, but I wanted to. And then, so that's why I knew like I need help to be able to do that.
I think some impression I got from you is I know who I am and I'm not being who I am in this situation. Like,
Yeah.
I know deep down who I am, but I can't figure out how to navigate this and be who I want to be through it.
Yeah. And I think that's what you told me when we first started, was kind of like, you get to choose and you get to show up and be who you want to be. Like, that's actually a choice. Like, and that's one of the main things I've learned from life coaching is it's like our lives and our emotions and our feelings don't need to control who we can be, who we can show up as. Like, I don't have to show up to my mom's wedding bawling and a hot mess and mean and cold and, like I get to choose. So
I just remember your first model, and it was that you didn't want a stranger in your family. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That was your thought. I don't want a stranger
yeah.
in the family. And
Yeah.
you're like, I know I'm going to act like these ways. Like you just said, I'm probably going to cry. I'm not going to want to hug him. I'm not going to be kind to his kids. And you were like, but that's not who I am. So how do I do this? And I remember talking to you about how I think you were trying to get to new thoughts before you'd felt the emotion of.
Yes.
So can you tell us about that?
That's what I do. I try to just replace the thoughts, but I really have a hard time like accepting my feelings and then moving. And in fact, with the wedding, it was actually like after. I think I did it backwards because we worked through my model and we came up with the idea that I could be really grateful for this new guy. And I am. He's so wonderful. And I feel like I've gotten to a place with him where we're buds and it's great. But in the moment, I had to like really find a way to be like accepting him. And so I did what you said, like we replaced the thoughts that I was having of like, I don't know, there's so much we could go into that, but to
Mhm.
make it short, we came up with the idea of gratitude towards him. And that helped me a lot. And I was able to make the choice to be grateful and show up to the wedding, be kind, have a good time. And then, ironically enough, or like in my fashion, I actually felt my feelings after.
I think you might have felt them before too, because I remember you feeling sadness before you went to the wedding. Do you
Yes,
remember that?
yes. And that's true. I think
Tell
what
us
is
about
so
that.
cool about the whole situation
Mhm.
is like, I was really struggling and having a hard time. And like, I wanted it to be my dad. I didn't want to go and see my mom with someone else and have that feeling that like a reminder, like, oh yeah, your dad's gone.
Mhm.
And I did, but the coolest thing about life coaching and what we worked on is it's like I got there the day of and I got to choose for myself. I did the work in my brain and wrote it down
Mhm.
of like, I'm gonna show up and be a kind, loving daughter, and I'm gonna put that aside for a minute. And I did, and it was great. And then I got home and I went to the couch and I cried for like an hour straight. But I felt really good and okay about it because it was my choice,
Mhm.
you know. And I was like control of my emotions when I wanted to be. And then when I got home and I knew I could let
Mhm.
it go, I let it
Mhm.
go.
Mhm. So when did it happen that you felt your dad's presence or his, when was that? When did that happen? Was it after the wedding or before?
I think it was before.
Yeah, so do you remember that at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think another thing that's great with life coaching that I told Shari is like one of the other big things I've learned is that, we walk around with such negative thoughts and doubts. Um, we let those recurring thoughts kind of rule our lives. And with life coaching, if you can kind of get past that, then I feel like your brain is opened up to such bigger ideas that like you're not accessing because you're held back. It's almost I almost think of it as like, and this is a weird analogy, but the other day was like I turned on the vacuum and it wouldn't spin. It
Mhm.
wouldn't even like
Mhm.
go, and it was really hard to push. And I flipped it over and it was like, all the
Yeah.
strings and dirt
Uh-huh.
and it like wouldn't work. So I like, this is ironic when you're an adult and you have to clean the things that you clean with.
Right. Right.
Like that's
Right.
adulthood right there.
Mhm.
Anyways, that's like kind of how I see it though. Like if you don't clean out the gunk, you're
Mm.
never going to be able to get like better things.
Mm. Mhm. I love
Anyways,
that.
so I worked on kind of clearing my mind from all the negative ideas of like, he's a stranger, he doesn't know me, his kids are gonna like want to be best friend, like all these things
Yeah,
that were,
he's not my dad. I
yeah.
miss my dad. One of them was I miss my dad. Remember that one?
Yes,
And you felt sad.
like
Uh-huh. Right.
all and those are natural and it's good.
Totally natural.
It's fine. You're gonna have those. But then when I was able to like kind of process those and move past them, I got some really, really great, I don't know, personal revelation or messages from my dad.
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
So I had two main things that I heard, like my dad told me, I guess. It's kind of weird to say that because he's not here, but um my dad told me that I've always kind of been closer to my dad and he's my rock, my hero, all the things. And I just kind of struggled with my mom, and even more so like when he passed and he wasn't there as like our buffer, it just got really bad between us. Anyways, and I had this like really strong realization one day, and I do feel like it came from my dad, like um that's okay that it's hard, but that and maybe it was hard for him. I don't know, but I got this feeling from him that was basically just saying like, she was my person though, and like as much as you love me as your dad and respect me and whatever, like you should respect her for me. That type of thing, like
Yeah, such a beautiful thought that I don't think you could have come up on your own.
no, and that's exactly what I'm saying.
Right.
Like the natural man has that gunk that
Right.
like you have to clear out and like
Mhm.
really be
Mhm.
open. to be able to like hear those things
Right.
and understand them. Cause yeah, I hadn't thought of that for what, 7 years?
Yeah.
Probably my whole life,
And you
you
get this
know?
like broader truth, and then I don't know, like kind of like the prophet's whole thing celestial. Because that type of thought
Exactly.
was more an eternal thought than
Yes.
like right here, right now, this wedding, this stranger
Mm-hmm.
type situation.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I thought too. Like the thing celestial,
Hmm.
more than what your being here on earth can do. Like
Right.
more like a mortal thought versus
Mhm.
immortal. Like,
I like that he gave you compassion and
mm-hmm.
sympathy for
Yeah.
what you were going through too, not just like, get over it, this is fine, it's helping your mom, she's my person, but it was like kindness towards you
Mm-hmm.
also,
Yeah.
which was part of your answer.
Right. Yeah. And I've always felt like kindness towards my mom, and I've tried to be understanding, but there's
Mhm.
always still that thing where like I really don't understand her,
Right.
you know? And
Yep.
so I think that was okay too. And it was
Mhm.
almost like you don't have to understand her.
Hmm.
But for me, you can respect her and like try to love her and show up for her in the way you can.
So did you feel kind of like that was a gift to your dad in a way,
Oh yeah, for
to
sure.
be able to do this, act in this way, be this person?
It's honestly, it's what he would do.
Yeah, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
You got to channel him.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
When
So,
he's not
so
here
cool.
anymore.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah, that was really neat. And I don't know, I even had a second one that came to my mind about that whole situation of like, you know, obviously no one's marriage is perfect. I
Right.
mean, your whole podcast is built on marriages and
Mhm.
making them better. And
Mhm.
um I feel like I also learned that like my parents, they had a good marriage. They did what they could. They loved
Mhm.
each other and they loved us. You know,
Mhm.
we had a good home life. But like now having this higher thinking, like I can
Mhm.
kind of see some of the ways that like maybe they're both growing in ways now being separated than they
Interesting.
could be together,
Mhm.
which was a weird thought. And so again, that didn't come from me,
No,
you know? Like I
especially how much you miss your dad.
yeah, like I remember I was going into the pantry to grab something, I don't know, make some toast or something, and I literally had that feeling like, no, it's okay that your mom's moving forward because your dad is too. Like
That's really awesome.
I really had this feeling that like on the other side, he's progressing in ways that he couldn't be here.
Mm.
And like my mom with her new spouse will learn things that she couldn't
Mm.
learn when she was with my dad. Because as
Uh-huh.
relationships, we all kind of feed off of each other.
Mhm.
I mean, at me
They
and
get
my
stuck in
husband,
patterns and
yes.
all of the things.
Yeah, I see it in me and my husband, you
Mhm.
know, like it's just how it is.
Mhm.
And that just gave me like a lot of comfort because I'm
Mhm.
like, and who knows, like I don't even know, like what if they don't end up together after this
Mhm.
life? My
Yeah.
parents, maybe not.
Mhm.
But I do feel really strongly that they're both where they need to be and they're
Mhm.
both like progressing in ways that maybe they weren't.
That's really awesome. You hadn't shared that with
I
me
don't
yet.
know.
I love that.
Yeah, that was really, really a good realization. Like that just made me
Mhm.
feel so much better about the whole situation,
Mhm.
you know?
That would be a really good thought to practice a lot too. Just remember, you know,
Yeah.
because then you
Yeah.
get back in situations and it's hard to access these thoughts sometimes,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
when stuff comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any more you want to say about this, or do you want to talk about your own personal growth? What were we talking about? Like just, I guess, self-care type stuff, or
Mm,
what were we talking
yeah.
about?
Well, we kind of talked before about what we could
Mhm.
say.
Mhm.
I feel like when I came to Shari for life coaching, I had a lot of problems with relationships, obviously. But I had a problem with a relationship with myself.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That was what I wanted you to hit on.
Yeah, that's
Can you
probably
talk a
better.
little bit about that?
Yeah.
Or is it too hard?
No, it's okay. I just don't know, you know,
Mhm.
how to shorten it.
Mhm.
I think I've grown a lot in being able to like recognize, how do I say it? I have always been really hard on myself, I guess is a
Mhm.
good way to say it. And as I've gone through the life coaching and realizing my emotions and my feelings, like it's been really nice with the help of Shari to know that like it's okay and to give yourself grace as you're growing personally as well. Just like I was said, like told basically to give my mom grace. I need to give that to myself too, which is really hard, as you all, everyone is super hard on themselves. And I feel like especially as a mom, like it can be kind of daunting. Like,
Yeah.
like you just, I don't know, our culture, I'm so grateful that I have like a lot of kids in this family, and it's so great, but it's just, there's so much pressure too.
Right.
And the pressure to be perfect can be overwhelming. I've just really learned a lot of like to give myself grace and to kind of look at myself without the like warped,
Right.
the warped view that I had before. And also, I've just worked really hard on like trying to stand up for myself a little more.
Yeah.
And be.
So Hayley, in that way, she's so sweet that she can be a people pleaser and just kind of get run over.
Yeah.
And then that creates resentment and things inside that you don't like about yourself. You're like,
yes.
So do you want to share or talk anything about that or no?
I feel like it just kind of perpetuates itself in that instance. Yeah, like feeling steamrolled or whatever, you just kind of feel like less than, and then you're like, well, oh well, like it's fine. I should be the bigger person. But then there are times when it's like, no, you can say what you can stand up for yourself, and you can. And now granted, like, because I've been trying to do that more, I do have a little more peace within me, but my relationships,
yeah,
right? It's like they say, like the people that, how do they say it? The people that, the only people who will be mad about you setting boundaries are the ones who have taken advantage of their
issues with. Yeah. Yes.
And so like, that's been a journey for sure.
Yeah. And it's a work in progress. And I think my personality, I've had to come your way. And I think you are trying, it's just moderation. If we could both, those type of personalities come more in the middle.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. Yeah, so I've been working on that, like,
and you've had some success.
I have. Well, I think that's maybe why I've struggled.
But a little bit of pushback too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they realize it without you even saying anything.
Right.
That's like, again, with my mom, like I think that's one of the main reasons why I struggled so much with her, like moving on. And it was just kind of like, I felt like, oh no, she doesn't even like me or care about me now when she gets married. Like, there won't be any, no communication, no whatever. But it's kind of like, I came to the realization too of like, well, I have my boundaries, but also like I can reach out to where I feel comfortable. Like if I'm always expecting her to be the one, then I'm always going to be let down. Right. But if I try to reach out, if I try to, I don't know, I think that really helped me a lot with that relationship. And I think she felt the boundaries, but she respected them. And now we're like at a way better place, I don't know. There's like so much. There's so much, right? It's hard to like. I had it right on the tip of my tongue and then I forgot what I was just gonna say, but yeah, I hope you guys can see how incredible Hayley is. She's done so much work in such a short time, life-changing work, I feel like. Done some hard things, really hard things, and pushed through it and been willing to do the uncomfortable, which a lot of this work is discomfort. Yes. I always say the currency of your dreams is discomfort so often. Yeah. And I think like what I've noticed too with life coaching, that's nice of you to say that I worked up, but I have so much to go. Like, I know, so do all of us though. We all do. And it's like crazy because I noticed, I mean, we did life coaching for like how long? A month or two? Not long enough. A couple months, yeah. And I literally saw this like slow decline in me. I know it's hard to keep on it, like all the things you want to remember to do and be, and it's really hard. But that like was a testament to me of like, oh look, that works.
Mhm.
And when you're not doing it, you go back into these habits that you've created over your whole
For a long
life.
time.
And yeah, you're not,
Wow.
you're not
Yeah.
showing up for yourself. I'm like a total, like Shari has taught me, it's called buffering. I'm like a total,
Mhm.
like,
A lot of it, most of us, yeah.
yeah, where you just kind of want to avoid what you're
Mhm.
feeling or what you're
Mhm.
lacking, or I don't know.
Mhm.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, I've been so good not being on social media. This is great.
Uh-huh.
And then I like gained 5 pounds. I've been eating, like, no wonder I was doing fine because I replaced it with something else.
You and I both. I've been back
Yeah.
on that bandwagon too. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So it's me too. It's every single one of us. This is mortal existence,
Yes. Yeah.
right? And all
Mhm.
this work is just, I think, eking us closer to who we are, the best version of ourselves,
Mhm.
who we know we are deep down.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, it's just like you have the power to access that.
Yeah.
The sad thing is, a lot of us just don't know that.
Yeah. And we don't know how to.
Yeah, I was a complete clueless mess. I was like a hot mess. And I have like such a long way to go, but I know there's a way,
Yeah.
you know?
You've also done, let's just quickly talk before we end this about anxiety, because you've done
Mhm.
some anxiety work, which is super
Mhm.
helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So tell a little bit about the anxiety work you've done.
Okay. You're making this so hard. Because
I
I
know.
have I could talk
No.
on here for like 5 hours
No.
on all my problems.
We'll be good after this, because I know you've done such good work on this that I just
Yeah.
want you to share that part of it.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Well, yes, I've had anxiety throughout my life, but I didn't realize that that's what it was
Mhm.
until I like literally had a panic attack
Mhm.
when I moved into the ward, like after, I don't know. I yeah, I don't know how to put this all in a nutshell, but I think
Did
with
you kind of figure out what it was in your body? Did you figure out what anxiety looks like for you?
yeah, so from her summer class with the
Mhm.
kids, she described it so well of how you can, what's the word? How you can, what am I trying to say?
Like access
How,
it, or how you can feel it in your body, or I don't.
recognize,
Oh,
how you can
recognize.
recognize
Okay,
it. Yeah.
recognize.
So Shari taught the kids, and I'm like, perfect, because I like kids' ways, I guess. But
Mhm.
like how you can say like where you feel it, how you feel it. You could even put it to an animal or a
Mhm.
color.
Mhm.
That helped me a ton.
Mhm.
So I try to have my kids do it, and they
Mhm.
decided theirs, but then I did it for myself, and it helped
Mhm.
so much.
Mhm.
And so when I feel my anxiety coming, I get like some of the common things, like your heart's beating
Mhm.
super fast, you can't catch your breath, your mind's going 100 miles a minute.
Mhm.
I feel it in my heart, and I feel it kind of down, like in my tummy a little bit. And I
Mhm.
gave the animal of the squirrel,
Mhm.
because mine is very like
Yes.
crazy, like
I love that.
running around doing things. And even just recognizing it has helped so
Yeah,
much.
just
Like,
becoming aware. Oh, this is anxiety.
yeah, like, so obviously I'm a baby and like learning and helping me treat my own anxiety, but just even recognizing it, because before I think I would just like fight or flight, like just push through.
Mhm.
And now when I feel it coming, I'm like, oh, the squirrel's back.
Uh-huh.
And then I think, why am I feeling the squirrel? Like,
Mhm.
what's happening? And I try to do like, I don't know, Shari says just really try to describe it the best you
Mhm.
can. So
Mhm.
it's like, okay, it's really fast. It feels really wild and out of control. It
Mhm.
feels like red to me, like crazy, like
Mhm. Like
alarms.
scary, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So recognizing that has been really helpful.
So you felt a lot of anxiety when you did a class recently.
Which one? Oh yeah.
Yeah, you said, I
Oh
need
yeah.
more coaching, but you worked through it. So
Oh
let's
yeah.
finish with that,
Yeah.
because
That actually be
you
fun.
said I
Yeah.
need coaching and then you didn't need coaching. So what?
No, I still need it, but but I found a way. Yeah, I went to this class for musical theater. I just love to like sing and dance and everything, and I thought it would be fun, but it wasn't. The first time it was horrible. It was not fun.
Because your squirrel reared its ugly head.
Yes, it was awful. We had to like, and like, let me just give you a reference point. There are like 6 people in this class. They're all adults, they're all super
Uh,
like, it's like a safe place. You could go and just have fun. But to me, it was like the end of the world because I
Mhm.
had to go and sing in front of 6 people,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
And like alone by yourself,
Yeah.
like
That's
facing
scary for a
them.
lot of people, Haley.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
And it was embarrassing because I didn't take the time to like, oh, I'm feeling anxious.
Mhm.
Like I didn't do the steps.
Mhm.
So when it got up to be my turn, I like totally broke down and like couldn't do it. I
Mhm.
was like, oh, I can't, like I was like crying literally. It was
Mhm.
so bad.
Mhm.
They were very kind to me, I'll say
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
But it was very bad. But then I went home and was like, okay, that is not what a normal person should do. A like emotionally well person wouldn't be like, you know, like losing it. Anyways, I went home and I did do some work and I thought, okay, that's anxiety. Like, you know, walked myself through
Mhm.
and I like the I really like the like replacing of thoughts or adding new
Mhm.
thoughts.
Right.
And so it was kind of like, this is a safe place. Like
Uh-huh.
no one's judging you. This is for fun. This
Mm.
is not even like on a stage. Like
Mhm.
this, you know, and then I actually came up like maybe this is weird to share.
No, share it.
But
It's always really
we
good.
have the squirrel, right? That was my anxiety person. And so I came up with like an alter ego.
Love it.
This is weird. I came up with an alter ego of an animal of like what animal could be instead of the squirrel.
Awesome.
And so my alter ego is a lioness.
Love it.
It's
Courageous and
yes, yeah. And I guess the animal scenario worked well for me because the next class I went in and I was like, channel the lioness.
That's so awesome. I love it.
It's so funny. I'm like, you're not Hayley, you're a lion. Like,
Yeah. Uh-huh. Good, good.
and I used other emotions to
Mhm.
fuel it.
What kind of emotions came with I'm a lioness?
Yeah, trying to be brave,
No.
courage, things like
Mhm.
that. But you have to find something that will drive you to do
Right.
that.
Right. So was
And
it motivation too, or?
well, it's kind of bad to admit, but I let my anger fuel me
Oh.
because I was like mad that my whole life I felt like I couldn't do this. And
I
I was
love
like, no,
it
you're
works.
good stuff. You can do this.
Mhm.
Take that anger and that disappointment of
Mhm.
not feeling good enough, of
Mhm.
not, you know,
Mhm.
being there for yourself. Like,
Mhm.
take that instead of anxiety,
Mhm.
take those other emotions and use that to fuel you accomplishing something rather
Yeah.
than being defeated by
Oh, I
something.
love it. Look how good she is at this work. Can you believe
No,
it? She's done the work I've done in 10 years in like 6 months.
I've got a long ways to go.
Okay, so last thought I want you to share is what you just did last night, because I think this is so huge. You told me,
Oh yeah.
right? This
Yeah.
has been a huge part of loving you and like taking care of you and that you matter.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, and I have a great husband who's always been
yeah.
supportive
Mhm.
of this, but I got to a point where I don't know, bless my kids, but like the Thanksgiving break was like Wednesday to Monday.
Yeah, I did not anticipate it being
It
that
was
long.
It was long.
It was long.
And I did my best, but like I said, like ever since I haven't been coaching, like I'm kind of in a place again. Like I'm completely fine admitting that like I'm not there. Like I'm not journaling. I'm not reading my scriptures. I'm just like floating by.
Yep. Which we all do this.
Yeah. And I
Does
think,
look like this.
why am I in this cycle? What is wrong with me? And then I realized, oh, this is like life.
Mhm.
Like this is the cycle.
Mhm.
Like this is the battle that you're here
Yes.
for, you
Yeah.
know?
This is the battle.
Yeah. So I stood up for myself and I
So
asked
proud of
for
you,
what I
Hayley.
needed. And I text my husband, I need to get out of this house and away from my kids that I love so much. It's like, okay, I'll come home when I can get there and you go. And yeah, I went and got a massage and I did a little Christmas shopping and yeah, and it was I don't know that I would have been like asking for that as often as I would have needed if I haven't been like doing the work, you know, and trying to.
I was so proud of you when you said that because
Yeah.
that is taking
Yeah.
care of you.
It's like on the airplane when they say like put your mask on before the kids.
Right.
And at first I was always like, that's so rude. Like your
Right.
kid died.
Right.
Right. You know, but it's literally like you cannot fill someone else's bucket if your bucket it's
Completely empty.
Yeah. And I think maybe that's why I got such in a bad place in the first place, right? With my dad, my mom, my brother. It was like I wasn't really taking care of my emotional needs or physical. And then I just
So easy to do with 5 little kids too, because
Yeah.
they're so needy.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's selfish to think about me. Look what they need all these things from me.
And every time I go to leave and do something like that, I'm like, I shouldn't go.
Mhm.
I need to be here. We had
Right.
a dance rehearsal, swimming, and what was the other one? Soccer or something. Like we had 3 things.
Uh-huh.
And
You're
Dave's like,
peace
"It's
out. Yeah.
just like, no, if I don't do this, I will like hate everyone. And it's not because of them, it's
No,
because
it's
of
not.
me.
It is. I've figured out that when I'm most intolerant, I'm not doing enough self-care. It's like
That's what it is.
it's
The
like-
resentment.
It
Yeah.
is. It's like should be a loud, like in those scare houses, those red lights that are like,
Yes.
it should be a warning to me, like, you're acting like this because when's the last time you took care of you? And
Yeah. Yeah, because you're burned out. You're on the edge,
Mhm.
like you're on the edge of your rope.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just, so that's why I love all of these conversations, life
Mhm.
coaching, everything is just because it's like we can have such better lives than we're living.
Yeah.
All of us
And
are guilty of it.
we
And
can.
again, the cycle, you fall back in it again,
Mhm.
and it's fine. You try
Yep.
it again and
Get back up.
yeah.
You know what to do. And you did it. That's the thing, is that before you might have had an anxiety attack or something else, but you're like, I actually need an out tonight. I'm gonna go do this. And
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're in a better place today, just feeling better.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
You're happy to see everyone. And,
Mhm.
yeah. And
You're being back your true self,
yeah.
like who you really are.
Yes. And like Shari taught me too, it's like the more you stand up for yourself, keep promises to yourself, work on yourself, like the happier you are, because like you checked a box.
Right.
How many times do we make those lists that we never check the boxes?
Right.
I'm so guilty of that.
Yeah.
To-do list that's 20 miles long, and then I'm mad that I didn't do it when it wasn't realistic in the first place.
Right. And then we get right back into not being happy with ourselves and beating ourselves up instead of, that whole cycle.
And then your relationships suffer because of that. So it's all connected.
And I'm guessing your husband knows or has now figured out that when you say you need something, he's going to be a lot happier if you do what you need to do, right?
Isn't that true?
My husband's found that. He's like, oh, you okay? Go, really go.
It's so true. It's so true. Please leave.
We would love to have a happier you return.
We want the old Shari back.
So, Hayley, is there anything closing amazingness you want to share? Because, oh man, you've shared so much awesome stuff. I am so appreciative of you coming on.
Great. There's so much more I could say, and I hope it was a little bit organized.
It was so good.
But I think like the only last thing I would want to say is just to bring it back to the gospel. Like I do feel like we're here to grow, and like this is one of the best ways to do it. Like I feel like God wants us to be happy, and he doesn't want us to just go along and just be acted upon. Like we were given our bodies and our spirits and with the right to be able to act, right? It's kind of like faith without works is dead.
Right.
I feel like so strongly that this life is endless opportunities, endless happiness. And that's even a fraction of what they say we'll have after this life, right? But I feel like if we can access our best self, I mean, that's the whole point of it. And I feel like that's what God wants us to do. Like think celestial, like we were saying, like there's just so much more to life than being unhappy or discontent or like go out there and do what you want to do. Like I feel like a little bit of fire in me from that, and I'm trying to like go do stuff because I'm like, no, you deserve to be happy, you deserve to go live a great life. And when you do that, you influence other people as well. Like I want my kids to see that mom like did what she could to have an amazing life, and like she wasn't perfect. I have to apologize to them like often, like probably daily.
You and me both.
But I feel like so strongly that with life coaching and just living the gospel, like there's so much out there and so much good we can do. And it's okay you have to work on yourself to be able to do that. Like,
Yeah,
if that,
it was perfect. Oh my word, that's the best way to end. I don't even have anything to add because you said it so eloquently. Okay, everyone, this is Hayley, amazing Hayley, and thank you so much for coming and sharing.
thanks, sorry.
You did
It
such
was
a good
great.
job,
It was
Hayley.
fun.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time.